Every family has secrets. Some are small, some are dangerous, and some will change everything you thought you knew about the people you love. This is the story of the man I never knew, the man I thought was a stranger, and the man who saved my life without me ever knowing it. Welcome to Plot Twist Revelations. My name is Marcus, and this is the story of how I discovered that the person I spent my entire life hating was actually my father. I grew up in a single-parent household. My mother raised me alone. Or at least, that's what I always believed. She never talked about my father. When I asked, she would change the subject. When I pushed, she would get angry. And eventually, I stopped asking. I was 12 years old when the man started appearing. I remember the first time I saw him. He was standing outside our apartment building, just standing there, watching. I thought he was a criminal. I thought he was dangerous. My mother saw him and immediately pulled me inside, locked the door, and told me to never, ever speak to that man. Who is he? I asked. Nobody, she said. He's nobody. You don't know him. You will never know him. But he kept coming back. Every few weeks he would appear. Outside our school. Outside our apartment. At the grocery store. He was always there. Always watching. And my mother was always terrified. I was 15 when I finally confronted her about it. Mom, who is that man? Why does he keep showing up? And she broke down. My mother told me everything that day. And what she told me, it destroyed me. She said my father was a dangerous man. A criminal. He had been involved in organized crime, drug trafficking, violence, things she didn't even want to say out loud. When she discovered she was pregnant with me, she made a choice. She left him. She took nothing but the clothes on her back and ran. She changed her identity, found a new job, and built a new life, all to protect me from him. But he never stopped looking for us. He wants you, she said. I don't know why. Maybe to make you like him, maybe to use you, but I've spent your entire life keeping you away from him. That's why we've moved so many times. That's why I'm always paranoid. That's why I can never relax. And then she said the word. I was so angry. Angry at this man I'd never known. Angry that he had such a hold on my life, even though he was never in it. Angry that my mother had to live in fear every single day. But I also made a decision that day. I decided I would protect her. I decided that I would never, ever let this man into our lives. I built a wall around myself. A wall so strong that nothing could get through it. Years passed. The man kept appearing, but I learned to ignore him. Sometimes I would see him watching from across the street. Sometimes I would feel his presence at school. But I never acknowledged him. I never spoke to him. I never even looked at him. He was the enemy. He was the threat. He was the man who had stolen my childhood and made my mother a prisoner in her own life. I hated him. Fast forward to when I was 22 years old. I was in college, studying to be a lawyer. I wanted to protect people like my mother. I wanted to put criminals like my father away. It was my mission. It was my purpose. And then everything changed. My mother got sick. She didn't tell me at first. She tried to hide it. But I noticed she was losing weight. I noticed she was always tired. I noticed she would disappear into the bathroom for hours. When she finally told me, it was cancer. Stage 3. The doctors said she had maybe 2 years if she was lucky. My world shattered. I dropped out of college. I took a job to pay for her treatment. I spent every moment I wasn't working either at the hospital or taking care of her. My mother was my entire world. She was the only family I had. And now she was dying. And I couldn't do anything to stop it. My mother passed away on a Tuesday in March. She was 53 years old. I was destroyed. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I didn't leave my apartment for weeks. The funeral was small. There was no family. There were no relatives. There were just a few friends from work and her therapist. When I finally left my apartment, it was because I had to arrange her affairs. She didn't have much. A few savings bonds, some jewelry, and a safe deposit box at the bank that I didn't even know existed. The banker told me there was a letter inside, addressed to me, to be opened after her death. I opened it at home alone at 2 in the morning. The letter said, "Marcus, if you're reading this, I'm gone, and I need you to know the truth. Not the truth I told you when you were 15, the real truth. I've enclosed a contact. His name is David Chen. He's a private investigator. Call." I called the number at 3 in the morning. The man answered on the first ring, like he was waiting for me. We met the next day at a coffee shop near my apartment. David Chen was an older man, maybe 60. Kind eyes. He ordered coffee and didn't say anything for a long time. Then he said, "Your mother was one of the bravest people I've ever known, and I need to tell you why she ran." David told me a story that shattered everything I thought I knew. My father wasn't just a criminal. He was worse. He was involved with some very dangerous people. The kind of people who don't forgive debts. The kind of people who take matters into their own hands. When she discovered she was pregnant with me, something shifted inside her. She couldn't bring me into that world. She couldn't do it. So she made a deal with the federal government. She became an informant. She gave them everything she had. Names, locations, dates, amounts. Information that would topple an entire criminal empire. But there was one problem. My father found out. Not before the feds moved in, but soon after. He knew she had betrayed him. He knew she had testified. And he wanted revenge. But here's the part I didn't know. Here's the part my mother never told me. My father never wanted to hurt us. He wanted to protect us. When the feds moved against his organization, they arrested hundreds of people. But the people at the top, the dangerous ones, they got away. They were hunting for my mother. They were hunting for me. Because my father, despite being guilty of terrible things, despite being a criminal, decided to do something different. He decided to protect his son. He went to the feds. He made a deal. He testified against the people he'd worked with. And in exchange, he asked for one thing and one thing only: protection for his son. He knew he would go to prison. He knew his organization would turn on him. He knew he would probably die in prison. But he did it anyway. Because I was his son. My mother, all those times I saw him standing outside our apartment, watching. He wasn't trying to kidnap me or recruit me or hurt me. He was protecting me, making sure we were safe, making sure nothing happened to us. My mother told him, through intermediaries, that if he ever tried to contact me directly, she would disappear again. She would take me somewhere he could never find us. So he stayed away. But he never stopped watching. He never stopped protecting. He died in prison when I was 19 years old. I didn't even know he had died until David told me. David told me that my father's last words, the last thing he said before he passed, was my name. He asked about me. He wanted to know if I was okay. I was a mess. I didn't know whether to cry or to scream or to rage at the universe. He had sacrificed his entire life for me, for a son he barely knew, for a family he could never be part of. My mother had lied to me, not out of cruelty, but out of love. She lied because she thought the truth would destroy me. She lied because she wanted me to have a normal life. She lied because she couldn't bear the weight of what my father had done. And I had wasted 22 years hating a man who loved me more than anyone else in the world. David handed me a box. It was from my father. He had left it with the prison, with instructions to give it to me after my mother died. Inside was a journal. 20 years of journal entries. Every single entry was about me, about wondering who I was, about imagining what my life might be like, about being proud of me for the person I was. Marcus, if you're reading this, I'm dead. And I've never gotten to know you, that's my biggest regret. But I want you to know that I was proud of you. I was proud of you every single day. I watched you grow up. I watched you become a good person, a person so much better than I ever was, and that was enough. That was more than enough. I'm sorry I could never tell you who I was. I'm sorry I had to watch you from the shadows, but I would do it again. I would die 1,000 times to protect you. Are my son, and I love you even though you've never known me. I hope that someday you can forgive me for the life I couldn't give you. And I hope you can forgive your mother for the truth she couldn't tell you. We both loved you. Always. Your father. David. Life isn't always what it seems. People aren't always who we think they are. And sometimes, the person we hate the most is actually the person who loves us the deepest. If you're watching this, and there's someone in your life you've written off, someone you think is a villain in your story, maybe it's time to reconsider. Maybe it's time to look deeper. Because the real plot twist isn't always about events. Sometimes it's about people. And sometimes the greatest revelation is discovering that you were wrong about someone all along. This is Plot Twist Revelations. Thanks for watching. And remember, the truth is always more complicated than it seems.